So we're going to talk about the risk of childhood obesity in the Black community, a study that was conducted. The first one is just discussing the association between low family support and the risk of obesity among ethically diverse Black youth. Two hypotheses is the ones that the author came up with is low family support increases the odds of childhood obesity, and low family support increases the risk of obesity, particularly in African American females. A little bit of background of the story of the study is that most studies when they look at the family environment role when it comes to the risk of obesity among youth, they kind of focus more on the energy balances that directly involve that aspect, and that is more of like your food consumptions, your physical activities, the sedentary lifestyle, nutrition, those type of stuff. Majority of studies do with. But this study in particular want to focus more on the mental aspect that supports how close that person is with their parental with their parents or the family within them. They look at the neglecting parenting aspect, if they're getting harsh treatments, that emotional support. That's the key takeaway that the study is trying to come about, and not just in a general aspect, but now they want to specify it more down to okay, how does this relate in regards to gender and ethnicity when it comes to the obesity? So as they look further on, there were studies that conducted for female African American females, showing that they are predominantly the low family support has that impact on them, and one of the studies were pretty much, out of 227 African American youths, 118 were females, and based on that study, the ages was 20 to 32 through a 12-year lifespan. That they realized that because of the low maternal support that the females received, they had a higher BMI index. Other studies show that African American females tend to use high calorie intake food, as a coping mechanism to deal with stress or anything like that. And that just investing in that capacity of obesity among African Americans can play a huge role uh, in regards to the family aspect. So, and then just limited studies on the more of the mental aspect of the family factors that influence obesity. Studies just showing that, hey, males and females tend to get different parental treatment, and that may influence the way they deal with coping mechanisms in that aspect that may lead to increasing their appetites, not appetite, but just coping and increasing their meal intake and their lifestyle. Girls receive more emotional support from their parents compared to boys in some aspects. African American families, pretty much not an exception to that role. And so those are some of the things that the study would like to touch on. So the study design is a cross-sectional design in the aspect that they use. Initially, they used data from this National Survey of American Life Adolescent Supplement in 2013, in 2003. The survey kind of covers 48 states, African American, Caribbean Black, non-Hispanic, white adult populations is what they target. And then they kind of went down deeper in selecting the adolescents. They only selected adolescents in African American, Caribbean, Black households, but only the ones that had two or more adolescents in that household. So if they had one adolescent, they did not select them in to participate in the study. So pretty much study consists of 1,170 Black adolescents, which you can see 810 of that is African American alone, and then 360 is Caribbean Black. And I just say that just to remind you about when we talk about later on of that distribution, that population distribution. Now, the age range obviously from 13 to 17 years. They took African Americans from large cities and urban areas, so they got them from different areas when they got the survey, but they only took Caribbean blacks in large cities. The demographic factors were more of the control factors, that's your age, um, income, gender, the Domus variable was obesity because they used a 8 sample survey, and I'm sorry, for the obesity part was either you're not obese or you're obese, and if you're above 95 percentile, then they would consider you obese, and everybody else is non-obese. For this family support, the 6-item survey scale ranged from 5 to 20, and that was pretty much just listing numbers, engaging it on 6 questions on whether you think it's fair, how you've been treated, if you're not treated correctly. You just kind of answer in that aspect. And with that one, the higher you score on that survey, the low family support. It indicated that you receive low family support. So some of the statistical analysis that was used was a multivariate analysis when obesity was the outcome of it. Family support obviously was the main predictor, and then the age was the control item of it with that 13 to 17 age group. Ethnicity, gender being your moderators, which your male, your female, Caribbean Black, African American Black. And then the pool, it was an odds ratio, so 95%, using the confidence interval. And then anything with the p-value, obviously of less than 0.05, was considered statistically significant. And that's kind of what they use. They use pretty much 3 different modules, and instead of going down using different tests, they just use one test to justify all of these analysis, pretty much. And then the results, the distribution, descriptive statistics of it was just the 15 years was the average age, 96% were your high school students. Um, Average income of overall was 28,000, and then American Black African Americans was 26,000. Korean blacks was 32,250, and I give you a rough estimate on how it kind of showed with the mix. So also with the results, so low family support was not associated with the increase. You saw that p-value of 0.082, which is higher than the 0.05 significant level, and but the African American female showed that 0.05 in that p-value, making it right there, but it shows a significant, statistically significant win it. And then obviously our odds ratio of 1.60 is shown pretty high. So with the Caribbean blacks, Caribbean females, and African males, they did not see any association with that with the study. So there's no association with the African Americans or females. I'm sorry, African American males, Caribbean males, and females, Caribbean females. Some of the limitations for the study, there was quite a few that I kind of noted. Respondents were paid to participate. I always have a feeling when someone paying participants to participate doesn't always bring out the ones that you want to target. It might also screw the data. Self-reported height. Anytime you're doing self-reported, it's especially with youth, high school students, as you can see, made up the majority of the study. They may or may not answer things accurately or provide accurate information. Surveying for parents may not provide accurate information as well. So that's one of the things. And then the recommendation is, using human cross-sectional studies and going ahead and do that observational data and that natural habitat. And just conducting your own researches will make a huge difference. And then I'll reference.